Yeah, if it's one thing I'm gonna do, man, I'm gonna point the kids in the right direction. You know, student government. We gotta teach these kids how to
Do the Right Thing of DC presents Teen Speak, the Teen New Deal. Youth Solutions for Racism, Violence, and Economic Inequity. A youth town hall. What is the Teen New Deal? Well, it's a book with a 12-step plan inside to get American students paid to go to school with digital currency. The money students earn would go to their parents. The younger the student is, the more access parents would have. And as the student gets older, parent access decreases. Nationwide student government associations and school-based media would be mandatory to help student leaders demonstrate financial literacy, organization, and communication. The Teen New Deal project is focused on achieving federal legislation to implement nationwide student pay, student government, and student media by 2026 as a gift for America's 250th birthday. Let's listen now to youth in Washington, D.C.'s Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program as they talk about how these solutions could help address issues like racism, violence, and economic inequity. Please welcome your Teen Speak hosts, Mr. G. Sidney Norday and Miss Leslie Gould.
All right, welcome everyone to day 3, our third and final day of Teen Speak, the Teen New Deal, presented by Do the Right Thing of DC. This is a youth town hall presenting solutions for racism, violence, and economic inequity. I am G. Sidney Norday. I'm an educator and author and native of Washington, DC, one of the co-founders of Do the Right Thing of DC. And I'm so glad to be here for our third and final day. I wish we could keep going of our 3-day virtual event. So we can listen to some of our amazing young people once again as they give voice to some really interesting ideas about education, including financial literacy, government and media literacy as well. And please welcome my co-host, Miss Leslie Gould. Leslie, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. I am so happy to be back here and be your co-host for this final third day of Teen Speak, Teen New Deal. Oh my God, this has been a wonderful ride and a wonderful experience. For those that are just joining us today, I'm Leslie Gould. I'm a former prosecutor, assistant state's attorney from Chicago, Illinois, joining you. And I am so excited to hear our final days and our final segments, to hear our youth speak about these important issues. So I am just happy to be here to hear how they're going to transform our communities, Mr. Norday, our country, and then the world, okay?
Yes, we can do it. We can do it. They can do it, right? Yes, thank you, Leslie. Good to see you. Glad you were with us for our third and final day again. And listen, we know it's all about the voices of the young people and trying to elevate them. So we're being joined by 3 teen hosts. So Leslie, let's meet them now. They've just done a wonderful job, and we've been watching them over the 3 days as they've just been evolving as our teen hosts, just knocking it out of the park. Leslie, let's go ahead and meet them now.
Oh, yes. Okay. So our first teen host that I'm going to introduce is Angelina Smith. Angelina, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angelina Smith. I'm 17 years old, and I go to Blue High School. I model for a brand named Shein, and I'm also a young mother, which is why I'm happy to be moderating the first segment about student pay with digital currency and parent access to student earnings, which will be based on the student's age.
Wonderful. And thank you. Our second teen host is Jonathan Steele. Jonathan?
Looks like Jonathan had to take a quick break. And he actually said, hold on, so maybe we should go to
that happens,
our third host. Right.
Okay, but we still have our 13 host. We'll get back to Jonathan because I do want him to say hello. I do have Shannon Bradshaw. Shannon.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Bradshaw. I'm 17 years old, a student at Blue High School, and I love photography. And I will be moderating the third segment about closed circuit school media. That's TV, internet, and social media just for students at school.
Yes, what a wonderful component. Do we have Jonathan back yet? Is he? Yes, Jonathan.
All right.
Jonathan, please introduce yourself. Say hello to our audience.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Steele. I am 17 years old. I am a student at Ballou Senior High School. I am a proud member of the Ballou Majestic Marching Knights there, and I'll be moderating for segment 2, Solution to Mandatory Student Government.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Yes. Glad to see the three of you back with us again. You've been doing a wonderful job. Thank you for being here. Well, there are 3 teen hosts, Angelina, Jonathan, and Shannon. The 3 of you have been amazing the past 2 days, helping to moderate this discussion with our youth panelists. We have heard some really good points by our youth panel and our teen hosts as well. So I can't wait to hear what our youth panelists will say today about student pay, student government, and student media. Ms. Leslie?
Right. And also, not only will we hear from our youth panelists, we also have some important guest adult panelists, and we are going to hear and receive feedback from them about the 3 components: student pay, student government, and student media, and cannot wait to hear and receive their contribution.
Yes, some great guests with joining us today. We're visited by Denise Rolog Barnes, the owner and publisher of the Washington Informer. The Deputy Mayor of Education, Paul Kine, was here. Andrea Thomas, the President and CEO of UPO. We had the Assistant Chief of Police was here, Pamela Wheeler-Taylor, to hear and listen to our young people. And some amazing guests today will be with us. So we're really excited. And in addition to that, Leslie Wright, we're trying to keep things interesting for our audience, especially our young people. So during our second segment, we are again showcasing an amazing music video presentation by a very special musical activist, as well as an artist and producer, a DC native, award-winning producer, Tone P. And he's going to be a panelist here with us today as well. So please stick around for that because it's going to be a great show for day 3. But let's go ahead and get things started with segment 1, student pay. Angelina, we're going to kick it to you. Take it away, Angelina.
Welcome to segment 1, solution 1, student pay with digital currency and parent access to student earnings. Please remember, when we say parent access to student earnings, according to the Teen New Deal, it will be based on the student's age. The younger the student is, the more access their parents will have to help their child spend, save, and invest the money. And the older the student is, the less access the parents will have. Got it? Okay. We're again going to start with a video poem in honor of the Teen New Deal, featuring one of my fellow teen co-hosts, This Is the Change Now by Shannon Bradshaw.
I want our black teens, white teens, all teens going to school. Let's show these adults the young people are the tool. A Teen New Deal will help us do it. We can prove it. Earning incentives should be included. We'll be making money every week, just do it. Let's deep dive into solving racism, hate, and crime. All people can be equalized. Let students earn money at school and we can do more than survive. We will thrive. It's 2022, the pandemic is conquered. Where we still alive. Diversity is the bigger picture in God's hands. Peel your own image from the mirror and wear it every day. Keep your head held high. A solution is the only way. Young people are gifted, persevere. But let's face it, we still getting shot at school. We still can't vote at school. Killed over and over by the law. I can't stall no longer. This can't go on any longer. Something needs to change. Aim for a Teen New Deal.
Wow, great video and great poem, Shannon. Obviously, Shannon is really into student pay and student media too, right? Okay, well, let's start with the youth. Let's see what our youth Let's see what our youth panelists think about this idea of student pay with digital currency and parent access to earnings. Let's start with Leif. He wants to talk about helping his family and increasing financial literacy. Leif, how old are you and why do you support? I don't think Leif is here, but I see Emmanuel. So Emmanuel wants to start with talking about helping families and rewarding good behavior. How old are you, Emmanuel? And tell us more.
Hello, everybody. I am 15. I support the student pay with digital currency and parent access to the earnings because it will help the family and teach the students how to be more responsible with the money and how to contribute with the student needs. And on top of that, you can get incentives, which is a reward for how you conduct yourself and how you apply yourself. And keep the students in school and out the streets committing crimes.
Yes, Emmanuel, I like how you projected your voice there. And it's really important for kids to stay in school, so why not reward them to stay?
Okay, thank you, Angelina.
I see
Yes.
Leif is here now. So Leif wants to talk about helping families and increasing financial literacy. How old are you, Leif? And can you tell us more?
I'm 15 and I support student pay with digital currency and parent access to earnings because it'll help families that are struggling to provide for their children so that the children don't have to go out and, stress over trying to make money to help out their parents. And also it will increase financial literacy, which is basically the ability to use money responsibly.
Yes, Leif. It's important for kids to start knowing what to do with their money. I see we have Shabria. She wants to talk about increasing parent involvement and making crypto legit. Can we hear more, Shabria?
Yes, I'm 14 years old and I support the student pay with digital currency and parental access to earnings because it gets the parents more involved with the children's lives. Now that the children will go to school with more objectives on their shoulders, then the parents can also be a support towards them emotionally and physically and financially.
Yes, I love that, Shabria. And next we have Esinam, who wants to talk about rewarding good behavior.
Angelina, could I get in there really quickly?
Yes.
Shabria also wanted to talk about something about crypto and making it legit. Shabria, did you have more there as well? I love what you said about parent involvement at the schools, right? If they have access to the students' money. But what about the cryptocurrency? I know there was a word that you have been using all summer about cryptocurrency and digital currency. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yes, it was the word to normalize it. Once we are able to normalize it, then society can become a better place because once we normalize the environment of children getting paid, then it can be a lot of weight off of the people that are struggling shoulders as well.
Thank you for that, Shabria. Absolutely. If we can get the students paid to go to school every day, right, with this digital currency, it'll be more normal. It will be regular. We'll be conditioned to using it. Maybe we can get this digital currency thing to really shoot off and launch. Angelina, who else do we have?
We have Esinam. She wants to talk about rewarding good behavior. So how old are you, Esinam? And can we hear more?
I am 15 years old and I support student pay with digital currency and parent access because students like me want to be rewarded for doing well in school and showing good behavior. Student pay would give incentives to students who show courtesy in school and influence students to improve themselves as a student. Taking these skills learned in school, they can bring it into adulthood and be rewarded for good behavior even in the future. And this would help me and other students be our best selves now and in the future.
Oh, wow. Esinam, thank you. Angela, did you hear that? She said you can even do it after school into adulthood in the future. So we don't just have to reward kids for good behavior. We can reward them as adults. Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Who else, Angelina?
Lastly, we have Devin, who wants to talk about contributing to families and making crypto legit. So how old are you, Devin? And can we hear more?
Yeah, I'm 16. I believe in student pay with digital currency because not only can it take some pressure off my parents' back with the resources I need for school, it'll lead to making digital currency legit and quickly transform society.
Yes, Devin. If you're getting paid to go to school, then your parents won't have to worry about spending all of their money on your supplies when they can spend the money that you make to get what you need. I also think that student pay could also solve Social Security because since there's more older people than younger people, if kids get paid now, that'll give the government something to take out for taxes.
Yes, Miss Leslie, are you hearing these young people? Okay, they trying to look out for us before
I'm
we
taking
hobbling
notes,
around here
Mr. Norday.
before we hobbling around looking crazy. Social Security, I don't know when, but I know I'm hearing rumblings that it's going to fail in the next decade before we even ready to retire. So Angelina is really thinking about the future, our future as well as hers. And thank you, Angelina, for sharing that you're a young mom, and that's why you're interested in student pay. And you're right. There are 50 million kids in America. That's like a small country, a medium-sized country. So if we can pay the young people and tax them, those monies could be used to shore up Social Security. Oh my goodness. And we need that fix. Like, what are we going to do? I haven't been hearing about any solutions. So thank you, Angelina, for elevating your voice and talking about how we can do that. Leslie, do we also have some chats?
Oh, yes. Jules Jesse just stated we need to normalize cryptocurrency. Okay,
Yes,
this
absolutely.
is and Paris Micaiah Butler. She supports student pay because this will help students pay for clothes, our uniforms, so parents won't have to be worried about that. Kaylin Carter says that she supports student pay because it can help students save up for college and lessen the stress they feel about the future. Oh wow, this is and Jules Jesse is watching from the office of the council member Trayon White. And oh, that was a great contribution from her. But yes, that's definitely some great comments in the chat. Thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely. Well done, Angelina. Thank you so much. So let's go ahead and hear from some of our adult panelists now, what they might have to say about what the young people are saying here. I believe we have Lauren Haggerty. Miss Lauren Haggerty should be here. She is, and I think her title is going to say it all. Miss Haggerty is the special counsel. That means lawyer, okay, for our young people. Special counsel for public safety, get into that, and youth initiatives for the Office of the Attorney General here in the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. Ms. Haggerty, so good to have you with us. And I see she has some of her young people there. Is that the High School Advisory Council with you?
That is correct. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
okay,
we can hear you.
Perfect. So yeah, so my name is Lauren Haggerty. I'm special counsel with public safety or for public safety and youth initiatives here at OAG. And here, some of them are a little afraid to get in the shot, but I have 10 of our members from the High School Advisory Council, and we get them by way of SYEP as well and MICVA here in the district. And so I just want to say, y'all did a great job. I get so excited and thrilled when I see young people who want to be civically engaged, right, into the issues that directly affect them. So, here at the Office of the Attorney General, we definitely look at truancy and chronic absenteeism, because when we have children or young people who aren't going to school, they have arguably worse outcomes. And one of those worst outcomes looks like being pushed into the criminal justice system, which is something that our office, we don't want to see. And so in trying to address those root causes of why young people end up in the system, we look for ways to maybe perhaps assist them. So truancy, chronic absenteeism is one of our key priorities at our office. And so we have the Attend program in our public safety division that works to eliminate the barriers for parents. The Triage program, where we partner with the Department of Health Services to provide social supports for young people. And so it really is a holistic approach. There is no one solution. And so hearing this idea of providing digital currency to students for attending school, I think it's a very novel approach and makes me, again, very, very excited. We know that there are kind of three buckets of why children stop going to school. Sometimes they're pushed out for bad behavior, not coming. Sometimes they're pulled out due to finances or family circumstances, or sometimes they fall out because there's a disillusionment with the educational system. So when we think about trying to incentivize schools, I think it's something that deserves a second look. And so I know that there's going to be some skepticism or think that it's going to be a heavy lift, but I definitely think it's a conversation that we should keep going. And so Emmanuel, Leaf, Shabria, Enam, Devin, I really loved hearing your commentary on how you felt about it and some of the benefits that you think could come from a program like this. So yes, that's my initial thought after hearing it.
Thank you, and thank you so much for saying, we can keep this conversation going, because we're going to mention more about that at the top of the show. In our opening video, we're talking about the year 2026 and the push for the focus on America's 250th anniversary and trying to get federal legislation achieved by then. And again, not doing this overnight, but just involving everyone in the conversation and just pushing forward and just hearing all ideas on the subject. So yes, we know there is some skepticism, but this idea of student pay has been going on for a while. And that's why we're going to also bring in these other components of mandatory student government and student media. So please, if you can stay with us a little while longer, and we'll go ahead and wrap segment 1 now, but please stay tuned for segment 2, because we're going to be showcasing a music video presentation. It's a Teen New Deal anthem about nationwide student government. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. We'll be right back with segment 2.
Home of the brave next, reality can hurt. Cause when you wake up, every day we face it. Too many with their heads down, too many too complacent. If kids are the future, let's give the kids a voice. We're making some decisions and amplify the choice. And turn in between, boost their self-esteem. So when they grow up, they know what government means. The policy schemes, the political functions. Cause when I grew up, those buildings didn't mean nothing. How could those buildings mean nothing? Product of environment, we gotta shake something. We gotta make change, it's really getting old. Cause kids killing kids, which is killing mama's soul. And all this red line, it can make it hard to vote. We can't make excuses, we cannot lose control. So listen up, people, today it starts now. The new youth movement, this is how we get it down.
Okay, welcome back to segment 2 of Teen Speak, the Teen New Deal. And we just heard some profound support of student pay in segment 1. I just love the fact that Attorney Haggerty even brought her contribution and support and said that this novel approach is what's needed, and to keep this conversation going, especially in light of, we know that there was a time that college athletes, they weren't paid, they weren't compensated. NCAA said that would never happen, but now it's the law on state law in over 27 states. So thank you for that, and we will move forward to our second segment, student government, mandatory student government, and we will have our teen host, Jonathan Steele.
Thank you, Ms. Gould, and welcome to segment 2. Welcome to segment 2, Solution to Mandatory Student Government Associations Nationwide. I am a musician myself, so I'm pleased to announce that we are going to start the segment with a special music video presentation. Tone P is an artist first and foremost, an award-winning multi-platinum record producer, working with Grammy-nominated artists such as Chris Brown, J. Cole, Jhené Aiko, Rick Ross, 2 Chainz, and more. Tone P is also a musical activist, credited with being one of the founders of the Don't Mute DC movement, which has been successful in countering corporate efforts to silence the iconic and original go-go sound. Here again with the musical anthem for the Teen New Deal movement and the push for mandatory student government, Tone P.
And here are options for end of the year trip: History Museum, virtual library tour, and the winner is National Arboretum. Isn't that wonderful?
Don't nobody want to go see some scenes? We want to go to the club and get lit.
No, Dad, you whack. You
stop trying to silence us. We students and we need to be heard. We need to vote about this. This is why we need student government. Yeah, what she said.
Mute. These students need to mute. Where's the mute button? Mute.
Yeah, this one thing I'm gonna do, man. I'm gonna point the kids in the right direction. You know, student government. We gotta teach these kids how how the country functions before they out on their own. Shout out to Gerald Norday, Lolo, do the right thing. Carla, Eugenia, what up?
I heard this was America, home of the free first, home of the brave next. Reality can hurt, cause when you wake up, every day we face it. Too many with their heads down, too many too complacent. If kids are the future, let's give the kids a voice. We're making some decisions and amplify the choice. And turn in between, boost their self-esteem. So when they grow up, they know what government means. The policy schemes, the political functions. Cause when I grew up, those buildings didn't mean nothing. How could those buildings mean nothing? Product of environment, we gotta shape something. We gotta make change, it's really getting old. Cause kids killing kids, but you're killing mama's soul. And all this red line, it can make it hard to vote. We can't make excuses, we cannot lose control. So listen up, people, today it starts now. The new youth movement, this is how we get it down. Here in DC, we do the right thing. And now I'm Tone Pina, everybody come and sing. It's the Teen New Deal. It's the Teen New Deal. This is the Teen New Deal. It's the Teen New Deal. This is the Teen New Deal. This is the Teen New Deal. This is the Teen New. Come on, everybody say the Teen New Deal. The deal is real. Let the kids go to school and watch the country heal. Come on, say the Teen New Deal. The deal is real. Let the kids go to school and watch the country heal. That's right.
That's right. Right thing. Linking up with Mr. Tone P. And we DC. Shout out to Peak G. It's the home of the go-go. Nation's capital, and now you know so.
Yes. Oh, I love that song. I love that video. Jonathan, what do you think?
You know, it never gets old. I love it every time, to be honest with you. I feel like when I hear it, it's like it just hits me with something new almost every time. And the lyric was powerful. Kids killing kids, breaking mama's soul. It's sad but true.
It is.
Going on. That's what's going on right now.
And not just kids killing kids, but we have adults killing kids too, and getting in these schools with these guns. So, and that's tough too. But go ahead and take us into segment 2, Jonathan.
Yes, sir. Tone P has not only been successful on the production side of music, however, but on the activism and political side as well. So he is an amazing voice to add to the Teen New Deal movement for student pay, student government, and of course, student media as well. Okay, well, it's our third and final day of Teen Speak. Let's hear what our youth panelists have to say about mandatory student government nationwide. Let's start with Leif. Leif, why do you support mandatory student government?
I support a mandatory student government because it will help students, practice to vote, so that when they get older and have to vote on the leaders of our country, they'll have the knowledge that they need to, vote the way they want the country to go. And it will just be more voters since people are already well versed in voting.
That is great. It's very important to become well versed in voting. It's very important because your vote affects change in the country, and it's important to know what to do because of your voice carrying that change. And we're going to go with Devin. Devin, why do you support mandatory student government?
I'm not sure if Devin is here right now in the studio, Jonathan. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Maybe he is. Go ahead.
Had a technical difficulty, but I believe in student government because I think it can help all the students get involved with what's going on in school. Kind of like choosing what field trip you want to go on and what food we want to eat throughout the year. And that's something Mary Bowser touched on a little bit too.
It's a very good reason. It's very important to get involved, especially for the changes that you want, because those changes are not going to come easy. And given the opportunity by SGA, you will be able to you'll be able to go for and try to enact those changes much more better. Let's Shabria, why do you support SGA?
I support mandatory student government because it helps with the youth learn more experience on it. In middle school, we all learned about the government, but I'm pretty sure we forgot about it. If we could have hand-on experiences towards it, it can build a better understanding to majority of the people and also open career passageways to the youth as well. It can better educate the world in America now.
You know what, Jonathan? I'm so glad Shabria said that because that was something that Tone said in the video. He's from DC, he's a native, and he said he didn't know what those buildings meant. You know, we have the Capitol here, the White House, all of these monuments. And a lot of times, as Shabria mentioned, you learn about the government in middle school, but after that, it doesn't really rest with us. And so we kind of forget, what do these buildings mean? What's the consequence of them being here? And so we need student government so that we can continually know about government, how it functions, and it can stay conditioned into our mind. So we'll be more prepared to vote as adults, like Leif said. Thank you, Shabria. Jonathan, who do we have next?
Thank you, Mr. Norde. I believe who we have, Emmanuel. Or did I call him Emmanuel? Yeah, Emmanuel's next.
Yeah, hello. My name's Emmanuel. I absolutely believe we should have mandatory student government because I believe we need better uniforms to represent our students in a professional manner. The food can be a little bit better than what they give us because some of the students complain and take their own lunch. And on top of that, we need more security for our protection, checking our possessions, making sure we are safer in the school. Also, we need more teachers and staff monitoring the field trips we go on, making sure that students do not get lost. I guarantee that with student government, we can all fight to make a difference in a positive way for all colors, and that's the youth and the world, even though certain people don't understand, even though certain people don't agree or understand.
Wow, a lot of passion right there, right, Jonathan?
Yeah, honestly, it's very important to feel safe at school and to feel as if you're representing yourself in a professional manner because that's what school prepares you for. That's what it's there for. So if you're not feeling like you're presenting yourself in the way you want to be presented, and if you don't feel safe at school, then it's not really going to get the job done and prepare you for the world. We're going to go with Asia next.
I think Asia just only joined us on day 2, so she might not be with us. Who else do we have, Jonathan?
Okay, this will be our if AC is not here, this will be our final panelist for the day. Well, for this segment, Esanam. Esanam, why do you support mandatory student government?
I absolutely believe we should have mandatory student government because the student government handles the money for events, improvement to the school, and distributing money, meaning that the student government needs to be established first before student pay is in operation. The student leaders of student government needs to know financial literacy to better understand how to handle money, learn financial skills, and gain more knowledge on how to invest and be a successful government.
Woo! Jonathan, who are these young people you have on here? Miss Leslie, did you hear that? She said, even though we're talking about paying students to go to school, student government is the key first. We have
in operation, right?
Being paid first so they can demonstrate financial leadership and responsibility. I think Brian Burrow touched on this yesterday. He said even the student government leaders might make mistakes handling the finances, but they need to be allowed that space to do so our young people can see how they handle financial decision making, whether it's good decisions or bad. Thank you, SNL, for that. Whoa, what a way to go out. Jonathan?
Yeah, Mr. Norde, I don't believe that can be put as what SNM did a great job on putting that together, and it makes a lot of sense. I love how all of our student panelists today had their reasons ready and well put together, and they were really valid reasons. Everybody should go to school and feel safe. Everybody should be able to feel professional. Everybody should be able to wear their uniforms with pride. Everybody should basically be able to go to school and actually learn something that they need in life. And I do believe that student government is very important. And because we're told as kids and young adults and teenagers that voting is very important and that we should learn how to vote. But then how are we going to learn how to vote if there's nobody really teaching us? This is what school is for. School should be able to teach us what we need to do in order to become young and successful adults and to become functioning members of society. And that's just really important to me. And I really feel personally connected to this segment and that because of that.
Absolutely. Thank you, John, for that. Well said, well put. Another thing, too, I think, and we've had this discussion before, you've talked about how it could transform society, because not only could student government talk more to the rest of the student body about that financial leadership and professional leadership, but also just they could drive home the point that America is a multi-ethnic mecca. It's people from all different cultures and backgrounds. And so we should be getting along more. And so young people need to be reminded that America is about accepting people of all cultures and ethnicities. And so the student government might be able to better drive home that point and spread that message with young people. Great points, great comments. And Miss Leslie, do we have some? Did you see?
Oh my God, chat is being lit up. Okay, we have from where can I even begin?
I see someone, Elaine Smith, Laura. She says, so happy that the theme song was included. She was able to rap along with
the script was included.
The Team New Deal is real, right? That's what we're looking for. That it's a catchy song, isn't it? Thank you.
It is.
Absolutely.
Kamaya Brody stated that she supports student government because it helps students gain leadership skills,
yes,
which can be beneficial in the future. Makai Edwards says student government, he supports it because it teaches students how to speak up for what they believe in. It allows them to become student leaders, which helps us in the future. Deandra says she supports student government because mandatory student government, because all students of all ages should be able to vote no matter how old they are.
Yes, absolutely.
We have a lot of support. Vishayla Lassiter says that she supports student government because it gives the kids a voice and a chance to make the change. And that's really what voting is. It's
yes, the voice has to be elevated. We have to raise young voice. And I believe our late Congressman John Brown said the answer is going to be with the young people. We're going to need the young people to put to make these solutions come true. Let's go to our adult panelists that we have. I know we have Ms. Lauren Haggerty from the Attorney General's office with us. I believe we also have our illustrious Councilman Trayon White, who just effected a successful campaign for mayor. He's from Ward 8. Thank you, Councilman White, for being here. And could you speak on what the young people are talking about, this issue of not halfway doing it, but having mandatory student government inside of at least all the high schools, right? So young people can start practicing and learning to vote and just being more active in government. Mr. White, thank you. Councilman White, thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for having me. I'm encouraged that our future is brighter with some of the young people that's in the room. I'm really excited to hear from you guys about the new team deal, just the creative solutions around how it can affect Social Security by starting young and using our resources to give back at a younger age. Also heard about better lunches, safer schools, protecting students while they're on field trips, financial literacy, the impact that music is having on young people, both positive in a positive way, financial literacy. And the last thing, SGA. I don't know if you all know, but I started my career off in a student government association at Ballou Senior High School. And it empowered me and gave me some tools that I needed to prepare me to be a council member and a leader for 80,000 people right now on the DC City Council. So just know where you are, young people, you are smarter than what I was when I was your age. So the potential is unlimited. I'm just glad to hear you guys are talking about solutions. A lot of times I'm on these panels, people are talking about the problem. And I think that the new team deal and the movement you all embarking on is about solutions that we have to get behind. I believe that the seeds to the future are cast in the past, and you all are going to lead us into the future. You don't have next, you have now. And so I'm encouraged to listen and learn from you guys, because I'm considered an old head now. I'm one of the youngest members on the council. But
At 38.
I'm an old head on the block, man. So I'm always trying to learn and listen, especially with the influence of social media that's been so impactful to the youth. And then I heard about public safety, which is critical for me as a leader to ensure that our young people, our senior citizens, our parents, everybody can walk in our neighborhood safely. And right now, that's not the case. And so we are meeting, conversating, moving pieces around to work at that every single day. In fact, I was telling somebody that safe passage that's now implemented in DC schools started with youth at Thurgood Marshall. A lot of adults take credit for that, but that started with the youth. And so the youth had the power. And even when I look back at the civil rights movement, it was the youth that did D-Day and broke the chains for segregation because youth stood up. And so I'm excited to be here today to listen to you guys. And I'm just going and indulging in some of the solutions here. So I'm just tied in today. Thank you all for having me. I'm here for any questions as well.
Thank you so much, Councilman. And can I just say real quick, Ballou Senior High School up in the house, okay? Our Assistant Chief of Police was here. She's an alum of Ballou High School. Councilman White from Ballou High School. Our 3 teen hosts, Shannon, Angelina, Jonathan, all from Ballou High School, okay? And the Juneteenth celebration this year kicked off at Ballou High School. So thank you. I'm so glad to have you with us. Thank you for validating the young people and just reiterating all of the solutions they talk about. That's what we focused on, especially that social security kick. We all going to be wondering about that in a few years, right? Because we are old heads and it's coming up fast. Can we, if we can get to our producer and see if we have any of our other adult panelists here. And I know we have also Guy Lambert, one of the hosts of Like It or Not on Fox 5. He's also the news director for one of our most popular stations here, radio stations, WPGC 95. We were going to bring you in on the last segment, but Mr. Lambert, Guy, can you get in and tell us what you think about some of these solutions that the young people are mentioning, the student government mandatory, the student pay with digital currency?
First of all,
and there he is. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me, guys? You got me? All right, good stuff. First and foremost, guys, this is awesome. I mean, I have just been sitting here the last, 42 minutes in awe as to what you all are putting on. You know, I do this professionally. First of all, your hosts, amazing. I got to watch out for my job, for how good that you all are doing. And I want it to be said that this shouldn't only be on YouTube. This needs to go really on a national level and really be showcased for the millions to see. Let me say this. Let me start with the whole financial literacy aspect with regard to, getting out there and making sure kids actually get paid. I think that's key, guys. It's all about real life experiences. You know, I'm thinking about back to the time where I started radio. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I pressed this button and another commercial would play. Oh my God, what's going on? But when you have the experience, when you take part in an internship and you learn certain things, well, you are then prepared for what's going to happen in the future. And I say that to transition to with regard to student government. I cannot say enough how important that is, guys. I heard a couple of folks saying, you know what, I want to vote on my food. I'm with you. Remember back in high school, I can remember there was pizza day and there was burrito day. And I gotta tell you, I really like pizza day. And so one of the things that, I think I should have done, and now that you all have the power to do, is really get folks talking about it. And I know we're talking about food, and I know it might sound funny, but once again, you are preparing yourself for what's going to happen in the future. You're going to leave there. And when you leave there, guess what? In the real world, that's what people do. They also lobby. And you're saying, well, what the heck is that? That means it gives you an opportunity to now go to your friend, to your other friend, and that other friend to talk about why it is important to you. Well, how this affects you and perhaps how it affects them as well. You learn that by doing it, guys. And then last but not least, it gives you a sense of belonging. What do I mean by that? Meaning, you go to school and sometimes you feel like you sit in the corner and nobody sees you. You feel like you say something and nobody hears you. Well, when you cast your vote, when you take part in government, your vote, your word, the guy, the gal that's next to you, their word, it all comes together and you all belong. It's real life experiences. It's a real understanding of what's happening. And it's something that you all are doing in a major way. I am so glad to be a part of this today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Day 3, third and final day. Sometimes it's the last, but it's not the least. Okay. Thank you so much. And to Trayon, if you all heard him say he's also a member of student government. Okay. So you got to start out as a leader early, you guys. Thank you, Guy. We also have, oh my goodness, Toby, if you like that music video, isn't it so catchy? They already saying in the chat how they cannot get the words out of their head. Okay, we had Sister Africa Porter.
Appreciate it.
Was on here on day one. She said, that song, who was that? And here he is, the man, Tone P. He is not just a musical artist, he is an activist. And, you know, we wanted to have him, you know, obviously talking about the student media portion, but we can't just have him talking about student media because he's not just into the media entertainment. He's an activist as well. Tone, please talk to the people about how you got into the, you know, originated the Don't Mute DC movement. And what are your thoughts on this idea of mandatory student government? I mean, I think we know what your thoughts are because the video, the song is amazing. Thank you so much for doing that for the young people, giving us that anthem. But what do you think about mandatory student government, Tone?
First and foremost, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Just making sure the mic works before I start talking. I don't want to start talking and, you know, I feel like I'm just, you don't hear anything. Yeah, a little bit about Don't Mute DC. To be honest with you, it's all about, you know, my spirit has always been in the right direction. So, you know, when your spirit's in the right direction, it always leads you into, you know, it puts you in the community of other people doing the same thing. So to keep a long story short, you know, I came down to visit Donald Campbell at 7th in Florida from a friend who had relayed over the information about, you know, him having pressures from across the street and, you know, having some issues with sound and the music being playing outside. So I came down honestly just to lend my professionalism, my opinion, and you know, when I showed up, Ronald Moulton was there, Tony Lewis was there, and Natalie Hopkinson, Professor Natalie Hopkinson from Howard, she was there, and we all kind of just put our heads together in aid to Donald Campbell at the store. And for me, my plan was always to, you know, as that establishment is a staple
Yes,
in the city.
yes. If I could just say that too, Tone, to the people that may not be knowing, 7th in Florida is the heart of DC, right by Howard University.
Yes.
And that store has been there since I was born.
Yes.
And it's boosting out go-go music for everyone to hear throughout the whole city.
Right.
And they were trying to shut it down.
And it's a cultural landmark in our city. So you got to understand that area introduces people that's not even from here to the music and culture when you walk past it. So for me, I was like, you know, a lot of our Black establishments go under the radar and we end up tanking because we're too quiet about it. Let's use your celebrity. Let's put it out there to the world. Hey, I got 30-some thousand followers online. Tony Lewis got about 30-some thousand followers online. Let's blow it up, right? And let the people of Washington, D.C. and the natives defend you. And that's how, you know, it'll take a life of its own. And we just gonna put more pressure on it as the weeks go by. And I put a post out. First, a girl named Julian Bloomfield, I believe. She went to Howard. She put up the tag Don't Mute DC with the video on Twitter that said that in the video you saw that it was a rave going on down the street, and then she was driving, and then you come to 7th in Florida, 1 block away, they had turned the music off. So it was like, okay, you got raves down here, but you turn the music off here. So it's just not adding up. And then so what I did was I had some information about the T-Mobile sides of things. I put a tweet out, but I took my tweet, put the information about T-Mobile because I didn't want nobody. I wanted people to understand where the source was coming from. Yes. I didn't want to make it seem like it was just efforts from the people across the street. And he had already passed those noise ordinance about 25 times, which now is harassment in my opinion. So now we got T-Mobile telling him, you know, behind the scenes, if you don't cut the music off, we're going to terminate you. And I said, nope, we got to go public with it. And that's the information I put out. Woke up the next morning to about 4,000 likes and about 400 comments under the picture, and ABC and Fox 5 calling my phone, a bunch of news publications calling my phone, and I told them to, you know, redirect your questions over to Donald. I mean, that's not the answer, even though I contributed to much more in the coming weeks, though. But to move forward within the the conversation with student pay and student government with the Teen New Deal, let's just say first and foremost, I might be your #1 supporter. Let's just throw that out there. You know,
might be
the idea of student pay, student government, and student media, all because, like Guy Lambert said, to piggyback on it in a sense. You got to introduce kids to the world, man, early, right? You got to give them a real play-by-play, because I'm from Southwest DC, right? Down in 106 area and the Greenleaf Gardens and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the music video, I said, those buildings growing up, those buildings didn't mean nothing. Product of environment, we got to change something.
Yes.
I'm 5 minutes from the Capitol. I'm 5 minutes from the monument. I'm 5 minutes from, I didn't even know that the Capitol had the Senate and the House of Representatives. Didn't even know that. I didn't even know the most powerful buildings in the world residing 5 minutes from me.
One of our young people said that, Tone. Shabria said that she's 14, and she said, she learned about the government in middle school, but then after that, she was like, wait, what's going on? What is this stuff about? And I referenced that line. You said, we see these buildings, we walk by them, we go downtown to kick it, we go to 7th floor, we hear the go-go, but we walking by these powerful establishments in the most powerful city in America, and we don't know what's going on.
But when you don't know anything about it, when there's no introduction to it early, it's just concrete to you.
Yes.
Right? It's just nice windows and fine architecture. That is it, right?
Right.
So for me, with student pay, it can increase student attendance and student involvement, right? By incentivizing positive scenarios, right? You gotta have, I think, with the how fragile our culture can be at times and what we've been through, I think incentivizing positive scenarios can be, I think it's a must, in my opinion. It can also increase violence and violent outcomes along the way, because what you do is you boost the self-esteem and you boost the interest, right? That's the same reason why most of these kids gravitate towards rappers in the entertainment industry, is because they're incentivized by what they see.
Right.
It's
and
all
that's
about
what hip hop is about. That's what hip hop music is about. Hip hop music is about elevating our voice, right? It's about giving us, it's a de facto kind of student government for us. That's what our hip hop leaders are about. They're really political leaders. They're really political leaders. And I love that you said it's a must that we have. And it's not really about financial literacy. On the surface, it's about financial literacy. On the surface, it's about government literacy. On the surface, it's about media literacy. But underneath, this is really about stopping the racism, the violence, and these deeper social issues that we're having. Tone, thank you so much for being here, for that endorsement. You are our #1 fan, and we're going to lean on you because we see that you are an unafraid, Tone, to use your voice, not just for the music, but for our community. We love you. We applaud you, Tone. Thank you. And I know we have some amazing chats here, but we want to get to our third segment as well to talk about this student media being in schools. And we want to get Guy and Tone to comment on that as well. And Miss Lauren Haggerty, if she's still here. So we want to save the chats, Leslie, and we're going to be right back with segment 3, student media, TV, internet, social media inside of the schools. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back with segment 3.
Yeah, this one thing I'm gonna do, man. I'm gonna point the kids in the right direction. Student government. We gotta teach these kids how the country functions before they out on their own. Shout out to Gerald Norday, Lolo, do the right thing. Carla, Eugenia, what up?
I heard this was America, home of the free first, home of the brave next. Reality can hurt, cause when you wake up, every day we face it. Too many with their heads down, too many too complacent. If kids are the future, let's give the kids a voice. We're making some decisions and amplify the choice. And turn in between, and boost their self-esteem. So when they grow up, they know what government means. The policy schemes, the political functions. Cause when I grew up, those buildings didn't mean nothing. How could those buildings mean nothing? Product of environment.
Welcome back to day 3, our third and final day of Teen Speak, the Teen New Deal. We just had a great discussion about mandatory nationwide student government by some really passionate young people. Plus, we heard and saw an incredible music video, our Teen New Deal anthem by award-winning music producer and activist Tone P. He is a great voice for the push for student government. We are glad to have him on our side. Listen, everyone, we know that school shootings are on the rise and an end to them doesn't appear to be in sight. but we need the same to be said about student voices. They need to rise up with no end. Congressman John Lewis, may he rest in peace, he said young people are going to be the answer. So the conversation about mandatory student government is far from over, but we're here with our teen host, Shannon Bradshaw, for our third and final component of the Teen New Deal, that's student media. And of course, we want to get our adult panelists in on this conversation. Shannon, take it away.
Thank you. Welcome to segment 3, solution 3, closed circuit school media. As closed circuit means that the television, internet, and the social media programmings at school will only be visible to students, administrators, and staff inside the school building. This way, students could be taught how to responsibly use social media. Plus, more entertaining and educational programs could be shown, reflecting positive images of students and the community. Communities they live in. Take a look at the promotional video about student media as well, and we'll be right back with our youth panel.
Are you a young person, a teenager that doesn't feel represented in the images you see on the internet and television? Would you feel more confident if you could identify with the ages of people you see in media? Sounds like you need a deal, the Teen New Deal. It's a deal offering closed-circuit media, that's television and internet programs just for students at school, giving young people the boost they need. So go ahead, young Americans, and get your deal today, the Teen New Deal.
Listen, for many years, minority communities have fought for more positive images on television, movies, and in advertising. And we're getting there, but what about young people, kids, and teenagers? We need more reputation too. School media is the way to do it. So let's hear what our youth panelists have to say about this closed circuit school media. I will start with Leif. I see Leif talks about student government and transparency. So Leif, how old are you and why do you support student media?
I'm 15 and I support student media because it will provide student government transparency, which will just allow the students to look in on their government and see what they're doing. And also there will be engaging educational programs that are run by students. And since they're run by students, other students will, want to participate, which will just overall increase the student performance and participation in school.
Thank you, Leif. See, we need more panelists like you because so you could teach other kids the student media because a lot of kids don't understand that. So we need you to come out and help. Okay, our next panelist is Emmanuel. I see Emmanuel talks about more programming with positive images of the youth. So Emmanuel, let's hear more about that.
Okay, yes. Student media is something we should have in all schools because more programs reflect positive images of youth and community. Plus, it will encourage the students to conduct themselves in a professional manner on social media because there's so much negativity on social media and it needs to stop.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Emmanuel. You said it. So thank you.
He said it so forceful and passionately, didn't he, Shannon? He
Yeah.
is on it. Who do we have next, Shannon?
I have Devin next. And I see Devin talks about increased responsible use of social media. So Devin, let's hear about that.
Yeah, just like Emmanuel said, student media is definitely something we need in all schools. It will teach students how to use appropriate language on the internet and avoid bullying, and also be responsible while using social media in general.
Now, Devin, I know that you're a young musician as well. Do you think you could you might want to get in schools and maybe make some music like Tone P about student media or student government and being more responsible?
Of course.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Shannon. Who else?
I have Esanam, and she talks about more engaging in educational programs, and I have a lot to say about that at the end. So, Esanam, let's hear more about that.
All schools should have their own student media because having our own student media in school will make learning more easier and effective for students and teachers. Teachers can use student media to teach students while students can use it prevent getting off task and use apps to do their works or activities to get their work done while still having fun. With more effective lessons, students would have more motivation to do well in school.
Yes, thank you. We need more teachers to even help us communicate better because there's a lot of kids that can't even communicate and come out and just like talk. So like we need more teachers to help us talk, just basically talk and communicate. I know a lot of kids that struggle with communicating. So that's what we need more. Our next panelist is Shabria, and I see she talks about increased responsible use of social media. So Shabria, let's hear about that.
Yes, to build on what you said, to have student media for themselves, it would increase the responsible use of it. We are all aware of the predatory and cyberbullying behavior that goes on in these apps that are mostly for adults. But if we have just like a social app just for kids to have fun with, it can decrease those numbers within bullying and the predatory environment.
Yes, definitely. You could actually make a Instagram page or some type of page to like influence that. So we need people like you to like go out and try.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shannon, for that. I love what all the young people are saying about student media, especially what Shabria just mentioned about the predatory behavior and the cyberbullying that's going on. It just really flourishes. And I guess what she's saying is it's more capable for hate to flourish online. And so what we're saying is having student media in schools and having teachers and students using it more properly, we can educate them about how to use it in a more responsible manner, and we can kind of lessen this hate that's this cyberbullying that's flourishing around. Shannon, we saw that amazing video poem from you earlier on talking about student pay, but you had this perfect blend of the student pay component and the student media component together. And we know you're into photography as well. What do you think about student media being in the schools? Just be real honest with us. Go ahead.
Like I said, there's a lot of kids that have communication problems, and like I feel like teenagers or like some kids that's younger than us, they not express themselves more like on social media for some reason. Like it's like when you meet somebody on social media and you see them in person, it's like they totally two different people because they're not the same person on social media. So that's why I said
yes.
Social media would definitely help a lot of kids like get over their fears and stuff like that.
Yes, get over their fears. What I'm hearing you say, Shannon, is if we could have teachers at the school helping the young people handle the social media more responsibly, it could get them a better hold of their image and help them present themselves more authentically. Right, Leslie? Because she said you see one person on the social media, and then when you get out there, it's like, okay, well, you're someone else, and why are you're not handling your image properly on the media, on those apps?
I mean, and that's why I was taking notes. I've been telling you, I've been taking notes from these profound words that we're receiving from these youth and teen panelists, teen hosts. But someone she said, struggle Shannon with.
Someone just said Shannon
Muriel
is an excellent
Cooper
moderator.
is an excellent moderator. But she said, struggle with communicating. And yes, that is something that all components of this Teen New Deal is addressing, because I think that that's a reason why we are having so much conflict and violence in our streets when we're dealing with our youth, okay? Because there is no conflict resolution. They do not know how to express themselves in an appropriate manner. And then the student media will hopefully present a forum for that. You know, it is so key that this is something that even Shannon is aware in even telling. She's giving assignments. Did you hear? She gave the assignment to Emmanuel. She gave the assignment to Esanam. We need to hear your voices. Okay, this is a challenge for all the youth participants and everyone in our audience to hear. Go ahead, Shannon. This is your platform.
And let's get some of our adults in here. If God Lambert is still with us, Tone, Miss Haggerty, or Councilman White, if they're still here, tell us what you think about this idea of really mandatory or closed circuit media, TV, internet, social media, just for the young people and the teachers inside of the school.
Hey guys, I'll go first. Where do I sign up at?
Please.
I think this is really awesome. Two words came to mind, guys. Influence and responsibility. Let me start with the word influence. Of course, when you can control what's happening around you and what you're made privy to, you get a better outcome. I'm a basketball fan. I love LeBron James. And so if LeBron wakes up every morning and he's eating, let's say, a honey bun and a couple of cupcakes, well, he's not going to be dropping all those points like he does on a daily basis. Of course, he surrounds himself. The influence of what he's putting in his body helps him, well, achieve what he needs to achieve. It's the same thing with social media. It's the same thing with media. What you're surrounded by, what you're influenced by, well, you'll get a different turnout based upon how that is. The second word I made mention of is responsibility. Guys, you know, you hear me on the radio every morning, and it's my job to deliver the news. Well, I have to be responsible in the way I go about it. So I don't just show up and just say, well, you know, I think this and I think that, or I'm just going to say this and I'm just going to say that. It is my responsibility to make sure I get the facts straight. I get everything right in order to provide information to you all, the masses. It's the same thing with student media. It will become your responsibility in order to carry that message across. And you have a sense of, as you heard me say before, belonging, understanding, a responsibility to know that it is your job in order to make sure you get it right or you don't do it at all. And so with that, I'd say go for student media. Where do I sign up?
Okay, thank you. And you know what? Thank you, God, for that. And as well, Shannon mentioned that, you know, the adults have been looking for more positive images. Minority communities have want more positive images on TV and the media, the advertising. But our young people need more positive images too. They're dealing with all these mental health issues. And so if we could have the media in the schools, if they were making the media, if they're more involved in it, they could become more responsible for their own images. And, you know, we could guide them along the way. Thank you, Guy, for that comment. I don't know if we have any other adult hosts here, but if I could just wrap, because we're over time here, and I just want to just drive home the point. Guy, thank you for being with us. Lauren Haggerty, Councilman White, Tone P. These three components that we're talking about, the school pay and parent access, the student government mandatory, the closed circuit school media, it's not simply about financial literacy, government literacy, media literacy. We're saying that if we do these things wholeheartedly with intent, if we pay young people, especially that controversial component, if we pay students to go to school, we can also offer them rewards and incentives for achieving more desirable behaviors. And if we continue that through civic engagement, even into their adulthood, this is how we can really address these issues of racism and violence and all of these deeper social issues, the economic inequities that are just profound in our society. And so, Guy, if I could just get some final thoughts on you, because we're trying to make this push with the Teen New Deal to 2026. That's America's 250th anniversary. It's going to be a milestone. We're a young nation. We don't have thousands of years under our belt like England and Egypt and China. But we see that we have such an influence on the world stage, but we kind of need to get our act together. What do you think about paying the students with the digital currency, letting the parents have the access? What do you think about us possibly addressing this racism and all of these deeper social issues by paying kids to go to school and letting parents have money?
I'll say this, guys, it has to start somewhere. You know, as I was sitting here, I got to be honest with you. I was not made privy to all of this prior to the point where I should have been prior to actually doing this. So for the past couple of days, I watched the segments. I watched what you all were doing. And I said, wow, I want to be a part of this. I'm saying that because you start small. And although it may seem small, you know what happens? It's going to grow. Why? Because this is real, this is true, and it really matters. You know, I've said time and time again, emotion, on my tombstone, a lot of folks say, you know, you want to be logical. Well, a lot of folks are more emotional. This is both, guys. And what I mean by that is that if you focus on the logical aspect of what you all have applied and what you all have put forward, it makes sense, right? Don't we all want to make sense? And then let's talk about the emotional aspect. I saw you, Emmanuel. It really meant a lot to you. You got excited about it. Look how I'm getting excited about it. Because it really matters. You combine the two and you got a home run. And so what I will say is, as I just stated, it starts small. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to fight the fight. Continue to believe in what you're saying. And quite honestly, it all boils down to the actions that you all are doing. And I don't know where else I could say other than sign me up. I'm on the bandwagon.
Oh my goodness, thank you. That is such a ringing endorsement from Mr. Lambert, guy. What a guy. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. And thank you for staying with us. We are 10 minutes over time. Appreciate you for also taking a peek in to see really what these segments are about. Thank you for elevating our young people to saying their name, giving them a voice and recognition like that. We know that means so much. I'm a teacher and we got to have their names in there, right? Thank you to our youth panelists, Emmanuel. Ms. Gould, what do you think about this?
I think we're heading in the right direction. This is not the end, okay? This is just the beginning. And like Mr. Lambert said, this is small steps. And like Lauren Haggerty said, this is a novel approach. Let's stay with it. We are having and we're gaining this momentum. We have the soundtrack by Tone P. I mean, I'm still dancing.
Everyone, you know what? And if we can see a few chats while we go out of our third and final day. That's it for day 3, the final day of our virtual youth town hall. Teen Speak, the Teen New Deal. But remember, the conversation about nationwide student pay, student government, and student media is not over. We still have people in the chat. Kaylin says she supports student media because it can teach kids about low-income communities can get represented. Low-income communities can have more representation that they didn't have before. And please continue to listen, log in to dotherightthingdc.org because the conversation is not over. And we want
don't forget to pick up the book, The Teen New Deal, on Amazon.com.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because we're trying to figure out if we can achieve this federal legislation by 2026, America's 250th anniversary. We're taking small steps along the way, and hopefully we can achieve something big by 2026, America's 250th anniversary. Ms. Gould, thank you so much for being my co-host.
Thank you, Mr. Norday.
Okay, we thank everyone for watching our 3-day virtual town hall presented by Do the Right Thing of DC, Teen Speak, the Teen New Deal, Youth Solutions for Race, Violence, and Economic Inequity through nationwide student pay, student government, and student media. If you'd like to learn more about these solutions and how we can prepare to give America an incredible gift for our 250th anniversary in 2026, visit our website, dotherightthingdc.org, and you can find the Teen New Deal book at Amazon.com. Thank you for joining us, and please remember, do the right thing.
I heard this was America, home of the free first, home of the brave next. Reality can hurt, cause when you wake up, every day we face it. Too many with their hands down, too many too complacent. Kids are the future, let's give the kids a voice. We're making some decisions and amplify the choice. And turn in between, boost their self-esteem. So when they grow up, they know what government means. The policy schemes, the political functions. Cause when I grew up, those builders didn't mean nothing. How could those builders mean nothing? Product of environment, we gotta shake something. We gotta make change, it's really getting old. Cause kids killing kids, but you're killing mama's soul. And all this red line